Welcome back again to Joe Stunner Boxing. I'm probably not the only one who's just watched Chris Eubank outpoint Liam Williams unanimously in Cardiff. Wide scorecards. I had it slightly closer. I had it 115-109. So that's 7 rounds to 5 for Eubank. But it wasn't a straight. It was a strange fight. It was a very strange fight because there were 4 knockdowns, all in favour of Eubank. And yet, for patches, the fight was, relatively competitive. It started with Williams making a very good, I thought the first 2 minutes he looked very good. He looked, to have the balance right between aggression and boxing. He was feinting nicely and moving forward. And Eubank likes people coming onto him. But, I did get the impression that Williams wasn't going to do anything silly. And then suddenly Williams is on the floor from a jab. And he gets up and he looks quite shaken. So the round goes to Eubank, probably a 10-8. The last 30 seconds, 50 seconds, whatever it was. Eubank put the heat on him. In the second round, Williams was on the floor again. And Eubank came out quite aggressively. Mentally, he'd sort of taken over. Whereas you thought for the first 2 minutes of the first round that Williams was the one gaining the mental edge. Suddenly Eubank, with that flash knockdown in the first round, put the heat on him in the second round. Looked quite intimidating. And this time he put Williams over with, I think, I'm not absolutely certain on this because I haven't watched it back, but it was a left hand, was it a jab and a right hand? And this time Williams was hurt. He was hurt, not really badly, but his legs were not as steady as they could have or should have been so early on in the fight. Third round, gave to Eubank. Fourth round, Williams is on the floor again with another jab. Now, Eubank was timing him to perfection. Okay, Eubank's always liked people come to him. And it was scary how much he looked like Roy Jones. Not in the talent stakes or the ability stakes, because the age I am, I'm in my mid-50s. Roy Jones, in my entire lifetime, is the most talented fighter, the most phenomenal fighter I've ever seen. And I class him as superior to, when he was in his prime, superior to all the others, Leonard, Hagler, you name it. An unbelievable, unique talent. But Eubank, the way he positioned his feet, the width of his leg, the distance between his feet, the way he held his hands, his shape, even the bald head, for little flashes. I'm short-sighted. I didn't have my glasses on as I was watching it for part of it. And I was thinking, that looks like Roy Jones. He did look like Roy Jones. But I'll tell you something Roy Jones would never have done. And that is let a guy get back into a fight. Okay, you could say Roy was so outrageously talented that he would do a bit of jitterbugging and a bit of showboating, but he'd always keep the guy honest. If ever a guy got cheeky, he'd put him back in his place. And Eubank did not do that, because he did start showboating and he did start doing all sorts of ridiculous, playing to the gallery nonsense, and gradually Williams crept back into it. 5th round, close. Thought Williams might have edged it. 6th round, definitely Williams. 7th round, another, if I remember rightly, another Williams round. He crept back into it. It became more competitive. You still got the impression that Eubank was the one who was going to land the punch that was going to do damage. And Eubank has never been a one-punch hitter. But again, those early knockdowns were down to timing. The way Eubank has now judges the range, the way he now chooses the punches with more, he chooses them in a far more wise manner. He chooses the punches with more precision. He knows which punches to fire at what time. He doesn't take long periods. For the first 4 rounds, he didn't take long periods off and then fight in careless, frenetic bursts like he did early on in his career. The Jones influence is definitely there. And for the first 4 rounds, it was great. But the next 4 rounds, no, Williams came back into it. And Eubank let him come into it with all this stupid, arrogant, showboating nonsense. And it's not like Eubank was ever in any trouble, not physical trouble. He wasn't in any danger of being hurt. He was being hit occasionally quite hard. He's got a good chin, but he was letting the fish off the hook. Now this continued into the final third of the fight, but then the fight got put on its head again. because down goes Williams from another jab. You know, again, it's down to timing. It's not the actual weight of the punch, it's the timing. Eubank's timing really has improved vastly, and the way he controls the distance, the way he hangs around on the periphery of the distance, waits for the guy to just step into range and then bang. Yeah, I was very, very impressed. The first 4 rounds of this fight were the best I've ever seen Eubank. The next 4 were the most frustrating. The next 3, which takes us up to round 11, not particularly impressive. Williams, to his credit, showed a bundle of guts. A real, skip full of them. And in the 11th round, he got knocked down by that jab. So any hint of maybe could salvage a draw or something went out the window. In the final round, that was the worst I've ever seen Eubank, because he just skirted around the ring, barely threw a punch. Come and get me, come and get me. 8 rounds earlier, he'd been saying to Williams, stand and fight, come here, come and get me, come and get me. And in the final round, he just ran around the ring. And he knew, he knew that he just had to survive, and it was up to Williams to come after him. Fair enough. But you've said you're going to knock the guy out. You said you're going to slap him around, teach him a lesson, and so on. And then you're content to go the distance. I don't know. It didn't sit well with me, that last round. But let's not forget the contribution of Williams to this fight, because after the first Liam Smith fight, when Williams was pulled out by his corner. I think it was Gary Lockett pulled him out, wasn't it? He was trained by Gary Lockett at the time. People cast aspersions on his heart and said he's a bully, he's a front runner, and so on. I think he dispelled that to a large extent against Andrade, and he certainly did it today against Eubank. Because in the first third of that fight, nothing went his way, and he was hurt, he was down 3 times. But he hung tough. He had a very severe swelling under his right eye? I think it was his right eye. His left eye, there was a swelling under it, but nowhere near as bad. So he took his lumps. After the fight, there was no handshake. In the post-fight interview, Eubank still had contempt for Williams. Williams wasn't interviewed after the fight. But it was an absorbing, unusual fight. Swings, lots of swings here and there. It wasn't an absolute thriller, but it was an interesting matchup. Good to see, good to see Williams proving that he has tremendous heart, and good to see Eubank showing that progress is being made with Roy Jones. I have to be honest, I was one person who didn't think they quite suited each other, the style of the trainer and the style of the fighter, but they're proving me wrong, and that's fine. I'm happy to be proven wrong. But also, we saw the worst of Eubank, letting the opponent off the hook, too much showboating, too many periods of inactivity. Such a shame, because those first 4 rounds, he looked very, very special indeed. So did you see the fight? Leave your comments below. Let me know what you think. What's next for Eubank? What's next for Williams? Drop down to European level, maybe? I don't know. Eubank will be looking for a title fight. Williams will probably be looking to rebuild. There was a lot of talk about, from the Sky commentary team, who are erratic at best. They were saying, well, Williams, did he make the weight right? But don't forget, Eubank was up at super middle for a few years. And on the scales yesterday, he looked horrendously thin. When he turned sideways, he nearly fucked off. Really thin. So I don't think that was fair to sort of talk about the weight being an issue for Williams and not Eubank. No, is Eubank going to stay at middle? If he does, he probably will. He'll probably get a title shot somewhere along the way. It's about time he won a world title, because the guy's got talent, but my God, he's pissed a lot of it away with all sorts of stupid managerial decisions and promotional inactivity and all sorts of stuff, and his own sort of hubris. But Williams he can rebuild if he wants to. Maybe he will go up to super middle. I don't know. I don't think he needs to. He looked all right at middleweight. But what did you think? Let me know your comments below. If you're new to this channel, you could subscribe. That would be a big help. I love it when people subscribe. Good to have you on board. If you're back, you are a subscriber. Thanks always for your time. I really, really appreciate it. More boxing tonight. We're going across the pond. Might do another video or two. In the meantime, take care of yourselves. I'll speak to you soon. Bye-bye for now.